up everyone, I hope that you're all doing alright today. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I thought I'd build another cottage. I was in the mood to build another like cottagey sort of house, and yeah, I really enjoyed the last build that I did, the witch's cottage. So I thought, you know what, we'll do another one. It don't really matter if I kind of like double post a cottage. Normally I like to like keep everything varied and do a bit of, you know, everything, do different things, don't try and like repeat myself, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to overdo it with the style of houses, and I want to like, you know, just build a variety. And yeah, but I thought, you know what, it's my channel. If I want to build 25 cottages in a row, then I will. I mean, I won't do that, definitely not, I will get sick of it, but I've been in the mood to build a cottage, so that's where we are today. And I actually got this build idea from a comment by my good friend Jasmine Paris. She streams on Twitch, so I definitely recommend you go give her a watch. And if you're wondering like, well, when are you going to be back to streaming on Twitch, because I also streamed on Twitch for quite a while actually. I think I did it for about 6 months or something. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I'll go back to live streaming on Twitch. I do want to live stream on my channel at some point and do the not so berry challenge, but I've just got to wait for everything to line up. Like I'm literally waiting for stars to line up. Well, not literally, but the stars in sense of like they are a metaphor for mental health, physical health, time frames. Like life is just so hectic all the time. There's always something happening. Like it was just Halloween, and then like a half term when my kids are off school, and then my partner's like got driving tests, and oh my god, there's just everything. And then it'll be Christmas and parents' evening, and oh my god, it's so much all at once, and it's constant. So once I've got my head wrapped around the mental health stuff, I kind of want to wait till everything balances itself out with my antidepressants and the side effects and all that sort of thing. And I think I need a blood test, you know. I feel like I might be anemic or low in some sort of like, I don't know, vitamin or I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, my friend Jasmine suggested that I build a tiny house for a writer. I've actually already done that before, but I did it in a very different style. I did it in like a Mount Komorebi style, Japandi style. I can't remember exactly what I did, but it was a long time ago. But I thought we can always do another. We'll just do a completely different style. I will say this house isn't a tiny house. I did intend for it to be, but it just didn't really work out that way. So it is a small house, but it's not like actually a tiny house within the like the gameplay and the mechanics and everything of what tiny houses are. Also, I initially started off building it one like orientation on the lot, and then I rotated it because I thought it looked better facing out onto the water, but the gallery version will be facing the correct way. So this is a lot that's in Copperdale, the world that we got with high school years. So if it sounds like I'm rushing, by the way, I'm trying to cram in as much information about the build as possible because I've got a lot to say about it. But yeah, I started off with it one way and then I just rotated it so that the house looks out onto the lake that's there. But yeah, the gallery version, the house will be rotated a different way just for the sake of the gallery picture. But if you do want to download it with the orientation that I've got it for the speed build, you can obviously do that if you want. But it was just for the sake of the thumbnail, and I wanted a very like autumnal vibe to the screenshot and to like the build itself. So I ended up switching to live mode, and oh my god, I've got something in my eye, so I'm trying to get that out while I'm talking at the same time. I think we've got like an eyelash or something. Anyway, oh my god, this is so annoying. I hate when you get like something in your eye and you just basically have to jab your eye to death, and then eventually it sort of works itself out. But anyway, sort of that, I think. What were I on about? Oh, I started building it in live mode because I wanted the game to look like it's autumn. So when you build just in build mode, the weather is not set to anything, you know what I mean? Like it's just the standard what the game looks like in build mode. But I thought I'd like switch to live mode just to show you what the exterior looks like in the autumn or fall, whatever you want to call it. But I find it annoying when I'm doing a speed build or when I'm doing a build and I can see like the money disappearing as I'm building. You'll see it in like the bottom left corner, there's just lots of numbers. I find that really annoying to look at, so I don't normally build in this way unless I'm doing a starter house, because then I can like keep track of it. But yeah, hopefully that is clear. I feel like I did a lot of rambling and I didn't really get to the point, but that's why I switched to autumn anyway, or fall, whatever. but then when I do the interior I'll like switch back to the build mode. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to do this like little path around the outside of the build, sort of leading around to the back garden. Also, I used some build inspiration, Pinterest inspiration for the floor plan and the exterior. The picture that I found on Pinterest, the exterior of the build, it doesn't look like that. It's just the shape. I initially, when I was planning it, I had like a red brick cottage sort of thing that I was going to do, but it just weren't looking right. Something about it was just throwing me off. And I thought, do you know what, we'll go for more of like a dark wood sort of feel to it. And I think that that matches the autumnal vibe as well a little bit better. But yeah, the shape of the house itself, like I'm not super keen on it. I feel like it's just missing a few details because it is very like boxy, and it's got that like big porch on the front. I think it looks a little bit too like plain, so I kind of wanted to go a little bit overboard with the landscaping just as much as I could. Obviously I don't have a lot of space, but yeah, I wanted to do this path round the outside of the house, and it does have 2 entrances. You could always get rid of one of the doors if you wanted and just have it as like a porch. I think The Sims by default use the entrance on the left hand side, like the smallest door, but that's what the picture looked like on the like Pinterest picture, so I wanted to do it like that. And yeah, I hope, oh god, I feel like I'm not explaining that very well, but hopefully you know what I mean. It's not standard to have 2 front doors, is it? But in The Sims it doesn't really matter. I've seen it in like EA builds. I mean, maybe that's not a good thing because some of the EA builds are pretty bad, but either way it doesn't really matter. For the sake of gameplay, they've got 2 entrances, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I wanted to, you know, not go like too over the top because it is a small lot, but just have a bit of like, I don't know, like landscaping, have it look very cottagey and kind of like whimsical and that sort of thing. Also, the bike that I put out front is the bike that we got with Cottage Living if you pre-ordered it. So I think it's classed as base game, but if you pre-ordered Cottage Living, you got that. So if you didn't pre-order Cottage Living during the period of time when you were supposed to pre-order it, you won't have that bike in your game. But obviously if you don't have it, then when you download the build it'll just disappear. So it's more of a decorative thing. I don't often use that because it is like a limited item that only some people have. Also, for the packs that I used for this build, I used Cottage Living, Seasons, Cats and Dogs, Discover University, and Laundry Day stuff. Yeah, I think that's it. So I use like mostly expansion packs. Hopefully I didn't use too many. I normally like to limit how many expansion packs I use, but I felt like I really needed to use Discover University for some reason. I'm not really sure what made me want to use that. To be fair, if you don't have Discover University, you could probably get away with it, like not having it for this build. But I wanted the laundry thing in the bathroom, so that's why I used Laundry Day stuff. But again, if you don't have Laundry Day stuff, you won't be missing a lot. It's mainly just the laundry items. I think I used like a couple of decorative items, and then the rest of it is mostly Cottage Living and Cats and Dogs, I think, and then with a few Seasons thrown in there, a bit of Seasons thrown in. But again, I don't think I used a lot of stuff from Seasons. I'm trying to remember. Now I'm talking about it, I feel like I didn't even use Seasons. Did I? I'm trying to think. I think I did, but I'm just trying to think, like, if you've only got so many of the packs, like what you would benefit most from. You definitely need Cottage Living for it, I'll say that, and Cats and Dogs because of the windows and doors and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I think it's mostly Cottage Living, Cats and Dogs. But anyway, I thought I'd show you in the bathroom just because it is on the small side, but the build itself, like the length of the video, ended up being quite long. Not really sure why, because usually small houses tend to be like a shorter video just because of the nature of making the speed build. Obviously the longer the build took, the longer it takes to record and put it all together for the sake of a video. But in this case, small house, but it took quite a while to not build it, but like get the speed build sorted. Also with the kitchen, I went back and forth so many times. Like I said, I used a floor plan, so I wanted to kind of keep it close to the floor plan as possible. The only thing I changed was, instead of a second bedroom, this house as an office. Also, did I even mention what Jasmine said she wanted for the build? Yeah, tiny house for a writer. The main thing that she also said about the suggestion was the writer shouldn't have any like electronics apart from like a laptop, so they just have books and they're a writer. They're kind of off the grid, but not like actually off the grid, just off the grid in terms of, you know, they've not got like a TV, they don't have much electronic items in the house apart from like the lighting and fridge, I guess. But yeah, they are very much like I can explain it, simplistic and a bit like, I don't know, old-fashioned, I guess. They're more into writing, reading. I would definitely say that they're a bookworm. I would definitely say that they are also a loner sim. Like, I feel like they would be happy living alone and just doing their own thing. I mean, can't blame them for that. It sounds pretty good, just living alone, doing your own thing all the time. I mean, not to like slag off my family members that I live with. I'm not saying that I don't enjoy living with them, but I do appreciate alone time, you know. I think everybody does. I would definitely consider myself a loner sim. But yeah, I went back and forth on the kitchen. Didn't really know like what I wanted to do with it. I weren't really happy with the green counters that I was going with. They are my favourite swatch in the cottage living counters, but just something about them I was like, no, it's not really looking right. So I went with the dark brown swatches, and then I kind of mixed and matched them up. So the upper counters and then the bar counters. Are they called bar counters? The ones that you can sit at with a bar stool thing. They are like the darkest swatch, and then the counters where the sink is and like the actual the other counters, I feel like I've said counters too many times, I changed the colour of those to be a bit warmer. So I feel like I'm really doing a bad job of explaining it. Hopefully you know what I mean. But yeah, I wanted the build to be like quite cluttered and to have a lot of decorative items. I always like to do that with cottages. I think it just suits the whole style of it, the whole cottagecore sort of aesthetic. I think it suits being more like cluttered up and decorated and all that sort of thing. Obviously you could have like a minimalist cottage if you wanted, but I definitely prefer a lot of clutter for the cottages, which I think is why they're one of my favourite things to build, because I really do enjoy cluttering. And even though modern and like mid-century and like just modern in general is my favourite style, I don't always like modern builds to look really cluttered, because I think it takes away from the aesthetic a little bit, and I tend to do a bit more minimalism when it comes to building modern. So I think that's why I enjoy cottages also, even though the style is obviously very different to modern. It's the act of like making it look a bit like a grandma's house and putting loads of clutter in it. I don't know, I just find it really like therapeutic. Landscaping used to be my thing, and I used to get like, I nearly said I used to get off on landscaping. I did not used to get off on landscaping. I just used to find it really like calming and just like fun to do. But definitely clutter is my new thing of that. I find it very therapeutic, like I said. But yeah, I hope I'm explaining it all right. Do you know, I've got a right sore neck, and I don't know what I've done or if I've like laid funny or what it is. I also had this weird thing yesterday, and I've kind of been in pain ever since. Whenever I would make like a N sound, so the letter N for nest or N for nose, I realise I have quite a nasally sounding voice at times, so my N sounds like a M, like M for moon. But yeah, you can't see my mouth doing it, so you might not know what letter I'm saying. But when I'm making an N sound, it will like, so if I were like, oh, I don't know what's up with me, but my nose feels weird. Whenever I make that N sound, it was like really buzzing in my ear or in like my jaw. It was horrible. And I'm trying to tell my partner like there's like a buzzing noise, and I don't know if he thought I meant like in the house or what, but I was trying to explain it like, no, it's in my head or it's in my ear or it's somewhere. Oh my god, it was driving me mad. And then I had really bad, like, well, it wasn't really bad, it was just a weird headache and a weird pain, kind of like at the side of my eye, between my cheekbone towards my ear sort of area. It was really weird. And yeah, ever since I've just felt a bit like rough, so I don't know what's going on with that. Hopefully that passes, whatever it is. I've had a bit of a cold, so I wonder if it's like my sinuses or something. But yeah, I don't know. But now I've got a really sore neck, and I don't know what I've done or if I've been sat funny. I've been building like all morning. It's currently 2:35 in the afternoon. Cutting it short with the voiceover because I do have to do the school run, but it is what it is. I'm always last minute and I'm always late, so I'll be right. But yeah, I don't know what it is, but either way, I hope that goes soon. Also, I will say as well, before I forget, that this build is for a pet owner. So if you want pets in the build, if you want to download it, it is intended for animals. As usual, I haven't put down a pet bed because I never use them. I find that... Oh my god, what is that noise? It's fine, it was just my alarm in the other room going off to remind myself to take my vitamin D and my supplements for constipation, which I've already done, so don't need to listen to that. But yeah, what was I even on about? For God's sake. Oh yeah, the build is for pets, so if you do want to download it and you want pets in your build space... Oh, that's what I was saying. As usual, I've not included a pet bed. I don't use them when I'm playing with gameplay. I find that pets don't really stay in them. I find that they just kind of sleep wherever they want. It's kind of like high chairs with toddlers. I don't see the point in using them. My toddlers will just happily sit on the floor and eat their food. And pets are very much the same. They kind of seem happy to sleep on like the cold floor if they wanted. They don't really seem to be bothered by it. But you could probably fit in a pet bed if you prefer to play with them. I know everybody's different, aren't they? So some people will like playing with the pet beds, others probably not that bothered. But in The Sims, I don't mind my animals sleeping on settees and stuff. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention all of that. I feel like I mention it every time I build a house that's got space for pets, but you might as well mention it anyway, aren't I? But yeah, anyway, moving on to the bedroom, main bedroom, the only bedroom. Like I said, the floor plan for this, I'll put up a picture, so you've probably already seen it by now, but I'll put up a picture again while I'm speaking, might as well. The floor plan, obviously there's 2 bedrooms. I think one's like a double and then there's a single bed. I didn't want it to be a single bed, so I just made it into an office because this house is intended for a writer or an author or whatever you want to call it, journalist even, but they're predominantly focusing their career on writing or some sort of academic career anyway. That's the intention. But yeah, for the main bedroom, the only bedroom, I just wanted to keep it quite simple. It's kind of small but not. It's one of those like weird sized rooms where you can get away with like putting in some stuff but not like too much. So I just wanted to keep it quite simple and not like overdo it with the decorations. So I just put in some side tables with lamps, and then there's a bit of like mismatch with the wood tones, which I quite like doing in cottages. I don't like all the wood tones to be matching perfectly, so we've got a bit of mismatching. I used the Discover University side tables and then the cottage living dresser. Obviously side tables are like decorative, so they don't really serve any purpose, but I thought I'd include them just because I like to have them. Actually, in my bedroom, I've only got one side table, so I need to buy... We need to replace our bedroom furniture. Probably not going to be doing it this year because cost of living crisis, Christmas is coming up. It's like a whole thing, but yeah, I need to replace my bedside tables. I need to replace the whole thing, just the whole house to be fair, but that's my next sort of project. Although I've not done my other project, which was the bathroom windowsill, because I need to like sand it and repaint it. But anyway, getting off track here. But yeah, I will say as well, you could fit a TV in that bedroom if you do want to play with TVs in this build. Obviously you don't have to, but I just wanted to show you that you could fit a TV on that little side table thing that we got with laundry day stuff. But yeah, and then this is the office. It's quite basic. It's a mixture of an office, study, library, whatever you want to call it. Again, it's quite a small room, so I didn't want to like overstuff it with furniture, but I still want it to look cluttered and like cute and everything. So I think what I did in here was put in some wallpaper that's like paneling. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. The cats and dogs wallpaper thing. Sometimes using wallpapers that's got like a lot going on can make a room look smaller, so I kind of like that for a cottage. I want it to look a bit small and a bit cozy and stuff. So I thought that kind of made the room look even smaller than it is. Just my opinion, I might be wrong in that one, but I just think it gives the room a bit of more like a closed in feeling, just because you've got like a bit of texture to the wall, if you know what I mean. Hopefully I'm explaining that one okay. But yeah, I quite like this room. It looks quite cozy. It kind of makes me want to redecorate my office. I have about 15 different identity crises each month, so at the minute I'm like wanting to change my entire office. I'm kind of thinking I wish I'd bought white monitors for some reason and a white PC case, tower case, whatever, for my computer, because now I've gone down this rabbit hole of wanting white electronic everything, which is probably like the worst idea, especially for me, considering I'm quite like clumsy and like messy, and I feel like muck on white surfaces, like white monitors, it's going to show up more than say like black. But then dust shows up on black a lot more than what it does on white. I don't know, you can't win either way, can you? You're gonna have mess wherever. But yeah, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but I wanted to, I've put like a couple of the black cat statues around the house. I ended up changing it a little bit, so there's only one in the living room and then there's the little planter in the office. But my friend Jasmine has a black cat called Loki, and she has a dog called Archie. Can't remember what breed he is. I think he might be a golden retriever, but he might also be, oh, I can't remember. But either way, she's got a black cat and a yellow dog, so I put a golden dog, so I put a couple decorative things as a little nod to them, a little like shout out to Jasmine, I guess. Not really, but I just wanted to put them down because I thought if this build is something that she suggested, I want to make it like nice for her. But yeah, that's my love language actually. Gifts, giving gifts, so consider this a gift, Jasmine, you're welcome. But anyway, moving on to the living room, the colour scheme for this was really doing my head in. I could not settle on the settee colour at all. I initially started off with the cottage living settee and then the armchair, but I didn't really like the look of them. I wanted a more of like a fabric looking settee rather than like leather looking, just to give it more of like a cozy feel to it. So you'll notice I keep changing the colours of the settee. I went back and forth so many times, my god, it was really annoying. I didn't do any like planning with this build. The only thing I planned was the shape of the house really, which only took me like 5 minutes, and then like the colour scheme on the outside. So as you see me decorating, that's me coming up with ideas as I go. I don't always like to do that, but sometimes it just works out that way. I don't always have time to plan out every single room and decoration, you know what I mean? Otherwise I'd be sat in my office all day, which I pretty much am, but I'd be there even longer, put it that way, and I'd have no free time for out. So I kind of, with this one, all of the rooms I kind of just made up as I went along. I'm quite happy with how they turned out. I like the layout of the living room, but it was just the colour scheme. Like, something was throwing me off about using the blue. I wanted to use the blue, but it was just like, I don't know, just something was conflicting in my mind. I was just like, I don't know if I like it. And then when I changed the wallpaper, I went with that like flowery kind of one from Cottage Living. Then I were even more thrown off, and I was just like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what colour I want. I think I eventually settled on green, like the first swatch of these settees and armchair, but I haven't took the screenshots yet, so who knows, by the time I go back into the build to take screenshots, I might even change it. I quite like the peachy pink colour, thought that looked cute, and it would kind of pull in from the wallpaper a little bit. There's some like rosy pinks in there, but I don't know, maybe I'll change it. You'll see in the screenshots what I ended up doing, but like I said, I've not taken screenshots yet, and sometimes when I do the screenshots after I've done the voiceover, which is kind of hit and miss what I do. Sometimes I'll do it all in one go, like take the screenshots and then do the voiceover. Sometimes I'll come out of the game because I'm like done building and I'm just like, oh, I just want to get it edited now, and then record the voiceover and everything. So who knows, you'll just have to see in the screenshots what I ended up changing it to. But I like the green and I like the pink. I don't think I was too keen on the blue. But then now I'm looking at the green and I'm like, it looks a little bit like snotty. I'm not sure if I like it. I don't know. Oh my god, I really am like so annoying when it comes to like being indecisive and stuff. But either way, that was like the thought process behind that. But I really do like the layout of the living room. There's just something about it. I like it. And then for the fireplace, I wanted some photos of like real things within the game. And I remembered ages ago, I took some photos of Henford on Bagley and uploaded the photos as a room to the gallery. So I got those. I kind of lost my train of thought then because I was watching the video. But I got those, went into live mode, put frames on them, and then I used the tool mod to kind of elevate them and try and put them on this shelf. It's a bit temperamental. Like, I'm not really good with the tool mod. I'm not too bad at like resizing and all that sort of thing, rotating, that's not my strong suit. It takes me a bit of like experimenting to get that right, but I feel like I got it in the end. I kind of wanted the pictures to lean against the chimney part. They're not leaning against it perfectly, and it is really annoying, and I feel like I want to just delete them rather than have them in the build. But you can't, like, you know, like with the red shelf, you can't put picture frames on the red shelf and then alt move them in midair. They'll either snap to a surface or they'll snap to the wall. And yeah, it was just a lot of messing about, and I thought by the time I've sorted it, they weren't perfect, but you know what, as long as you don't look at them from the side, it'll be right. But it's not a big deal. I'm very much a perfectionist, so I need to like really put effort into letting things go when they're not perfect, otherwise I'll obsess over it and then I'll literally lose sleep over it. But I'm not gonna lose sleep over it, because it's a game and it's not important, and we can move on from that, and I'm not gonna think about it. But yeah, probably I'm gonna think about it. But yeah, for the rest of the garden, obviously it's quite a small back garden. It's a pretty small lot. I think it's a 20 by 20. I cut out a bit of the landscaping just because it's a little bit like repetitive as we get into the back garden, like placing the stones down and everything. But obviously we don't have a ton of space, but I still wanted to have something usable where Sims can come back here and like hang out, do whatever. So I just put in a couple of benches, and I also put in the bee boxes from Seasons. Yeah, I'm trying to think, did I even use Seasons? But I guess I did in the end. And I think I used the, the flower arranging table as well. I were going to have the laundry hanging thing, the washing line, that's what I'd call it, but I don't think it's called that in the game. The laundry day stuff washing line thing. I were going to have that, but I don't know, I just didn't like it, and I kind of didn't see the point in it. They've got a dryer inside, and it does take up quite a bit of space, so I thought I'll get rid of it, and we'll have a bit more like outdoorsy gardening stuff, so your Sims can tend to the bees, and they can also arrange flowers if they want. And there's some planter boxes outside as well, out the front, sorry, and you could probably fit some more in the back garden as well, but I didn't want to like overdo it and overfill it, you know what I mean. And then yeah, after that we'll be at the screenshots. So I'm going to end off the voiceover here. I hope that you enjoy. Oh, I also put down sunflowers for the bees as well, but yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go. I hope that you enjoy watching this video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to leave a like on the video, and feel free to comment and all if you want to let me know what you liked about it. And also if you have any suggestions as well, I'd really appreciate it. Like I said in my last video, and like I will probably say in every video, just for those that don't know, I'm currently on antidepressants and I have a lot of brain fog, therefore my creativity is a bit lacking, so coming up with ideas has been very slow going. So I would appreciate any suggestions and just general requests. If you want me to build a specific thing, feel free to. So yeah, and to Jasmine, thank you so much for suggesting this video. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun building it, especially the interior. But I hope that you all have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.